Hello and welcome back to Unfiltered Real Talk with Christine and
S. Michael, that's me.
S. Michael. Hello, S. Michael. How are you?
Not unwell.
You want to turn that music off or down or something?
I like it. It sounds like porno music. I mean, excuse my French. Yeah, I like it.
Too bad. I can't hear anything. Remember,
fine.
you're dealing with the hearing impaired.
It's off.
So I'm going to just qualify everything from the start. I can't hear, guys. So I may be a little off. I still can't hear. And so if Mike starts screwing with me, it's going to show. So I apologize.
Bitch.
All right. And it's also a little hot in here. I got to say.
You know how do you guys
like
Nelly song? It's getting hot in here.
How do you guys like my wig of choice tonight? Do y'all like it? Mike picked it, of course.
Yeah, pink is my favorite crayon.
But see, it's a very subtle pink. It's almost like an ice pink, like a white pink. So I have to cut the bangs. So I'm having to push them off to the side. Sorry about that. But yeah, I like it. I had a different one on, and he told me that I looked like I was old and he was a boy toy.
I did not say old.
Yeah, he did.
No, I said I look like your boy toy, but I only said it because I shaved just now. So
yeah. So
but
anyway,
yeah, now it just looks like we're about ready to go out to the club. So
yeah, I'm sorry I'm messing with these bangs, but I want to get them somewhere where I don't have to play with them during the show. All right. What time is it?
We have at least one person lurking in the chat. Probably
we have one person watching me mess with my hair.
Hey, Kristen. Huh? It's Kristen.
Oh, hey, Kristen. How do you like my hair, Kristen? Mike picked it. It's bothering me right now.
Well,
let's see. I'll stop playing with it in a minute.
She said it looks great.
Does it? Thank you. I didn't get to style it before I threw it on because Mike was being mean.
Never. When have I ever?
And I wanted a little bit of bang, but anyway. All right. Well, thank you, Kristen. You like it? Thank you. It is a very subtle pink. It's like an ice pink. I like it. How are you, Kristen? All right, guys. Wish I had an air conditioner on in here. Okay, so it is Tuesday. What is the date? March 10th? March 11th? March 11th. Good gosh. Owen won't be here tonight. Owen has abandoned us in favor of darts. So unless we change the nights, he won't be here. I went live on TikTok yesterday and he was there. But yeah, he plays darts on Tuesdays. So
hopefully our troll shows back up that we had last week and the week before.
That's true. He was fun. Plus, it'll show how important we are to him. All right, so
in his head, yeah.
So tonight's topic, I picked it. It could be a little sensitive to people, and I wasn't sure about it. I really wasn't sure about talking about it, but Mike and I decided that it was okay, that we were going to give it a go. And I've been watching too much this chapter.
Give it a go,
yeah. And talk about it. So before we get started, let me just give you my contact information, and then Mike can give you my contact information, and you can get a hold of me about anything to do with anything. I will always chat with you. Is Real Talk with Christine, CHRISTINE @gmail.com.
And you can reach me at shitlesspodcast@gmail.com, because I also have another podcast called The Scared Shitless Podcast. So if you like scary movies, check us out. We're on YouTube and all the streaming services. So, yay.
Yeah, we actually have a few podcasts now. A couple of them haven't really got started yet, but we have a new website and I guess what you would call, well, it's a production company, really, is what it's going to amount to. We've just started it. That we're putting all the podcast under, and we're hoping to get, other creators to add to the content. So that's something we're working on right now. Um, and then I have my After Dark, and we have our Taboo. So those are all the things that we have. Oh well, we also have the my Dead Tit Society, which is my
Cancer survivor page. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I kind of want to call it my cancer journal, but it's going to be so much more than that. But it is everything I've gone through, as well as everything I've learned about breast cancer and hormones and women and men, and it's just so much information. And yeah, so I decided I had way too much information and I wanted to share it. So, I like to talk. Start a podcast, start sharing. So that's another one that I've got going. So
How have you been in general lately? Because you seem like you're doing a whole lot better.
I'm doing better. So now I think so. The only thing I have left is really the hearing, um, which I have no idea what's going on with that. Got to get that straightened out because I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm like kind of talking, kind of stressed talking because I don't know if anybody can hear me because I can't hear. But other than that, I'm doing okay. It'll be a while before I have another surgery. Uh, Honestly, right now I'm trying to get the plastic surgeon's office to make an appointment. So just waiting on that. And I will have one more surgery. Besides that, I'm just mostly dealing with a lot of fluid retention around the incision and in the arms and stuff. But just normal stuff. I don't have to have any more treatment. I am NED, no evidence of disease. They don't say cured with cancer. So that's the best you get, NED. Um, I'm very grateful that, two surgeries and I am at NED, no further treatment needed. The only way it could have been better is if I didn't have it. So, and in theory, I don't now, right? So that's about the gist of it.
Yay.
How have you been, Mike?
Yeah, I've been a little busier. I picked up a bunch of new clients in my human services job, helping people. I work basically as a contractor for the Department of Child Services, and I help people get their shit together so they can get their kids back. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster the past couple of years with the economy the way it's been, and just people are under a lot of stress. But yeah, it's been really good lately. So yeah, I've been doing well. Helping
Good.
people and making a difference. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
well, we have another lurker. Hi, lurker.
so I'm going to tell you what the topic is that we decided to talk about. It is objectifying someone. Is it ever okay? And I want to talk about it in context to what we talk about on our podcast, what we advocate for in terms of how we don't shame people for, anything they do or as long as they're obviously not harming others or themselves.
Or breaking the law.
Yeah, or breaking the law. Yeah. And we want to talk about consent. And is that okay? Some people are not going to agree with this. I actually think Mike and I are going to agree on this. It won't be like last week where we have a difference of opinion. I think we're going to agree on this, but I don't think the audience is necessarily going to agree with us.
Not everyone. No.
Not everyone. Yeah. I mean, and that's really it. It's sexualization, objectification, exploiting another person. So if they give you consent, if it's something that they want, does that make it okay? Do you think it's okay? Does it become okay then? Is it ethically and morally okay to do it if there's consent? Or is that something that you're just like, no, hell no,
Right. Like even if they give consent, it's still morally wrong. Like obviously they don't respect themselves,
well, and
so
they might think they might be like, oh, they're obviously mentally ill.
right.
A normal person with all their faculties would not want to be uh, sexualized, you know, or submissive or whatever, that they wouldn't want that. Uh, so there's a lot of reasons, I guess, that somebody could think, no, no, it is
So
never
I
okay.
know that somebody in the mainstream, at least since the early 80s, has been asking this question. It was the first thing I thought of when you brought up the topic. You remember that Eurythmics song, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This?
Yeah,
She said, some of them want to use you, some of them want to get used by you. And that
yes,
is a fact. And you can't get around it. Some people actually enjoy being looked at as a sexual object.
yeah,
So, I mean, what right does society or people in general have to say that's not okay? I
right,
mean,
and
you're stripping
that
someone's autonomy the moment you say, "Oh no, that's not okay."
correct. And you can't say that you don't judge people and then judge people. You know, um, the rule that I live by is as long as they're not harming others or harming themselves, obviously, or not breaking the law, then I have no business ever, you know, sticking my nose in it, judging them, shaming them. I mean, obviously, if they bring me into it, I can give them my opinions on things. But if they're not bringing me into it, I have no business, passing
Right. And so I
judgment.
think a lot of people who do kind of judge people like that, they latch on to the second part of what you said, which was as long as they're not hurting anybody else or themselves. And so they would tend to latch onto that. Well, they're hurting themselves by not respecting their own bodies and not respecting themselves as a human being and
But that is
a full person, right?
yeah,
By allowing themselves to be viewed as an object, they are hurting themselves in
but
some
that's
way.
an opinion, honestly,
Well,
because
sure,
you know,
absolutely.
uh, I get where they're coming from, but the person that wants it doesn't see it that way. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some people out there who are obviously hurting and do it because they are, hurting, and they actually don't want to do it. They are seeking some gratification that is actually not good for them. There are some people that are mixed up and confused and obviously making choices that aren't good for themselves. But that's not, I think you just have to be self-aware and aware of who you're with, be able to be intuitive enough to know if somebody is in trouble or if somebody is, you know,
Well, I
making
think you
healthy
hit the
choices.
nail on the head already at the beginning by mentioning the word consent, and it's 2026. That word is everywhere, and it does matter, especially in a modern enlightened society. Consent is key. And if someone is unable to consent, so for instance, if they're underage, or if they're inebriated or asleep or what have you, or have some sort of mental illness or just cannot consent for whatever reason, obviously they can't say, yes, please objectify me. And so that becomes the key issue. But if they are able to consent, what right does anybody under the sun have to say, oh, that's wrong?
Correct. Correct. So, if your partner, for example, you are together and your partner decides they feel like being objectified by you, or they want you to bring other people to join you and objectify them. I mean, if it's their choice and you're not against it, what you do in the privacy of your own home is up to you. And I don't care if you invite other people, as long as they also are giving consent and want to be there. You're not hurting anybody, and it's none of my business. You know, I have no interest in being humiliated. but I'm not going to, say anything about someone who has a desire to be a little or a lot humiliated. I mean, it's
Well,
just none
so
of my
we both have
business.
talked about like the liberated side of things, where it's okay for you to allow people to feel however they want to feel about you as long as you're consensual about it, right? But then there's also another argument that makes sense, right? And I think we kind of agree with them a little bit that there's also a bit of a slippery slope when it comes to exploitation, where we've as a society been saying that it's okay to objectify women for as long as society has existed, right? There's been images of scantily clad women since people were able to, scrawl on caves. And now we see it in modern society. Since Hollywood began, we see young ladies, especially like objectified, but women in general are seen as sex objects rather than full people. And it happens with men too. I mean, right? Sex sells. And so we see it in all the ads and all the movies and all the video games. So at what point does it become a problem?
No, we can't. We don't have any chat over on TikTok, which I try to. I try. I'm sorry,
No,
Mike.
I see the comment. Yeah,
Yeah,
and thank you. Oh, okay.
I try to say that when I'm over there and I'm telling people that we're doing a live tonight. I always say, while you can see it on TikTok, usually we can't chat. So if you want to chat, you got to come to YouTube.
Come to the YouTube channel. Yeah,
Yeah, until the platform gets that ability, there's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately.
but thanks for
So
showing up. Yeah, and for
yeah,
asking.
thank you. But I have been doing lives. Well, I've only done two, but I plan on doing them daily if I can. Um, so anyway, I wanted to talk about why I came up with this topic today. So I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about Britney Spears, and I don't know when it happened. It's recent, like last week, maybe. Um, she was arrested for a DUI, and they were talking about her. Would BDM fall into the category you're talking about? Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, dominance and submission,
Often
humiliation.
include
Yeah,
objectification. Yeah,
yeah,
of both
for sure.
sexes. Yeah.
Yeah. But they were talking about Brittany, and since her conservatorship ended, and how how out of control she is, as far as, if you watch her TikToks or her lives wherever she's doing them. um, they were just talking about it, and then they started talking about how screwed up things were when she was a kid, and how objectified she was and sexualized. And then they talked about how her sister was, and how all the kids, even Justin Timberlake and Justin
Yeah,
Bieber.
she
And
was 16 when "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" came out, and she's wearing the Catholic schoolgirl outfit in the
yeah, they
video.
actually said she was 15 when she did it, but yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. um, and they were talking about that, and it got me thinking, because I know in our podcast we talk a lot about, as Mr. Fixit brought up, like BDM. We talk a lot about BDSM. We talk a lot about kinks and fetishes, and the fact that we don't judge, we don't shame people, um, and it's not, while, let me restate that, while it is objective, objectify, mm,
Objectification. Yeah.
yes, objectification, while it is, and it is sexualization, it's consensual, it's asked for, um, and that is completely different than what you see when people, and unfortunately we do see it a lot with children, especially. Well, no, we just see it out there. Yes, it happens a lot in Hollywood, but it's everywhere. But obviously we're not talking about that. We're talking about grown ass adults who, that's what they want. And we're talking about, if you're with somebody and they want that and they give consent for it, do you think it's okay? And
And I would say that some people who have hangups and who want to judge others, who, how dare they objectify themselves or allow others to objectify them, oftentimes they probably have certain religious beliefs. And I did look into this when I was in
Yes.
into religion myself. Yes, excellent point. The kid beauty pageants
Yes.
is a egregious example of the you know unable to give consent for objectification. But yeah, when I looked into it as a religious person back in the day, it was like my question was, if I were a soldier who went off to war, and my significant other, my wife, say I'm married, like the Bible says you're supposed to be married, sends me a picture of herself naked so that I can, take care of myself while I'm overseas, is that okay? Because they said that pornography is wrong always, because it's the objectification of women and lust is always wrong. But it's my wife and she sends me a picture of herself. What's wrong about that? And the majority of the answers that I got were, actually, that might be okay because it is your spouse and it is between the two of you. And it's okay for her to allow herself to be objectified because you're married. And that made sense to me from a moral perspective. Now, I'm no longer religious. None of that makes any sense to me. But I agree that if somebody has a relationship with someone else and there is consent and they want to be objectified, nobody, including, the church, should have anything to say about that.
I agree. I agree. And yes, cheerleaders also. I mean, there's lots and lots of ways we can look around. Hooters, lots of places we can look where
Oh,
you're seeing.
Hollywood's the worst. We were looking
Yeah.
up, or I was looking up earlier, examples of Hollywood exploitation, particularly of minors, and like Brooke Shields was like 12 years old when she did like her Lolita style movie. Like there's tons of examples. Judy Garland abused on set, I mean, Hollywood is one of the most egregious when it comes to non-consensual objectification, and it continues to this day, with teenagers being paraded around in their bikinis and the camera angles, looking at certain spots. Sex sells. And sadly, even to this day and age, even though we've supposedly have outgrown the moral decadence of previous decades, young sex still very much sells.
Yeah. And that's where I get upset is when I see the sexualization of children. I don't like, and Kristen, 100% yes. I am so uh, grateful when somebody chooses to be honest, whether I'm into what they're into or not. I Honesty really matters so much, and on the dating apps, you don't see enough of it. So yeah, but it bothers me obviously a lot when I see the sexualization of children. And sometimes they try to be so subtle with it or they try to mask it. Mike and I were talking earlier about different ways that Hollywood uses um, just barely legal
Yeah,
people.
so when they did Taxi Driver with Jodie Foster, I was talking to you about that earlier. She was 12 or maybe 14, but she was way underage, but they used body doubles during the worst scenes so they could say, oh, well, technically we
Yeah.
didn't, but come on, people watch the movie and it looks like a minor is SA, and that is totally effed up. And again, it continues to this day.
Well, and I'm talking about where they use a woman who is 18 or 19 or 20, but she looks 13.
Yeah. Oh,
And
and they are the poster child of the day. Like they're the most popular actors for several years until they look too old to pass for a
right.
teenager
And
anymore.
it's disgusting. It is disgusting that they sell it. They sexualize it. They don't even hide it because they can, because well, she's 18. I'm so sorry she looks like a 12-year-old. That's not why we hired her. We hired her because she is a great actress. Sure.
So when we're
Okay.
talking about consensual objectification, um, it also would include these women who market themselves as basically teenagers and they show up in all the movies and all the ads.
Yeah.
And that to me is where I start to question, like, okay, is this actually okay? Yeah, well, legally it's okay. But is it good for society? Yeah, not so much, not in my opinion.
I don't
Because
think it's
you're encouraging
right.
men
Yeah.
essentially and women to
You're
a lesser degree to
normalizing.
objective. Yes, you're normalizing underage sex.
Yes, you are normalizing men, grown ass adult men, to ogle a girl who deliberately looks like she's not even developed yet. That's wrong. See, now
Yeah, I
that's
brought
wrong.
up the example earlier because I'm into horror, right? I got my horror podcast, and Jenna Ortega is huge right now in the horror scene. She's, I think, 20, 21, 22. But when she did the movie called X, which is an excellent horror film, except there's a scene where she was 18 years old and filmed a sex scene with a man that was 37. And that was in the movie, and it was celebrated as, oh wow, she's so sexy, but she looks like a teenager. She's got a very thin frame, doe-eyed, and she's kind of famous for looking younger than she is, which is why she played Wednesday Addams, right, on the Netflix channel.
Yeah,
And these are the kind of women that are on the scene, like they're the hot chick of the moment because they're in their 20s, but they look younger. And that is not okay. This would have been, I said, this would have been Harvey Weinstein's first choice, right, for the role.
yeah.
So no dice, no
Um,
good.
yeah, Kristen, I mean, uh, yeah, sharing pictures with somebody, yeah, that's again, that's a private choice. You either do it or you don't. But the one thing I got to say about that is if you do choose to be somebody who has no problem sharing pictures, that attitude needs to come across or needs to roll over or whatever. You need to have that attitude when your pictures are leaked or they're all over the internet or they're on Pornhub or whatever. When that happens, you can't get all self-righteous about it. You knew when you shared your pictures that that person could share them with somebody else. Come on, business doing it. That is a conversation you should have had with yourself before you chose to put it out there. You have to have that same conversation with yourself if you decide to put yourself on OnlyFans or Chatterbait or Strip Chat or any of those places. Whenever you decide to share your personal body with other people in media or in person, you are basically giving up your choice to tell them don't do that, because let's face it, they can do whatever they want. They might not be right. You might have told them not to, but they can and they might. And you need to be okay with it. And if you're not okay, don't do it in the first place. Just
Well,
assume it's going to happen.
I'm glad Kristen brought it up, though. She said, I think people's bodies are what attract people to
Thank you,
each
Mr.
other,
Fix It.
but leave something to the imagination. And I would say that is generally true for all of the dating apps, for being out in public. I don't need to see everything until, we develop some sort of relationship, but I don't mind seeing enough to know whether I find you physically attractive. Does that mean I'm trying to objectify you? Not necessarily. But if you don't mind it, I don't mind it either. I'm not complaining. So
So
give and take.
Mike and I didn't share pictures like that.
No.
No, the pictures that he saw of me prior to were sexy. I mean, the one that he liked the most was fully. I mean,
Yep.
it was a picture of my ass
Jeans
and
and a
jeans.
flannel shirt.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah. It
rocked it.
wasn't even my ass. It was just a picture of
Nope.
me
Just straight
standing
up
in
jeans
a
and a
pair
flannel
of
shirt.
jeans and a flannel shirt. Um, so yeah, he's never. That's not to say that you know that he can't get in a mood and want to objectify me. Yeah, and I can get down with that. That's cool. Anybody that really pays attention to us knows that he and I are like, we are not your, shy, quiet little neighbors.
What? What do you mean? Okay, so listen, you picked this topic, right? And
Yeah.
it's a little bit edgy, but it leads into even edgier topics. So I need to know, what is your opinion on women having to wear shirts in public?
What?
Women have to wear shirts in public. Should they have to? A lot
Yes,
of
of
a
course,
lot of
of
women say
course.
no, I shouldn't have to wear a
That's
shirt
bullshit.
because men
That is
should
a
be
st-
able to control
oh,
themselves
that is
and
a
not
stupid.
objectify me.
Oh, that is a stupid sexualization, backwards. thinking feminist thing. No, I mean, come on.
So you're not a third wave feminist, clearly.
We are not immature little children here. We understand that a naked body can be attractive to a man and probably is, and vice versa. There is a reason we do not walk around naked. And and I am so sorry that men don't have breasts and they can go without a
Yeah,
shirt.
me
But
too. Yeah,
but
I'd never leave home.
they have done such a number with that argument that men now, the really not conservative, the
Liberal.
careful, the
Oh,
politically correct guys,
right.
the ones that are very concerned about whatever's happening in the world right now, and they try to do the right thing. They're worried about being caught without their shirt on, like they're showing something that's gonna, oh my god, nudity. It's a freaking man's chest. For history,
Oh,
we
so they're trying to keep things equal by saying, well, since women can't
yes,
take their shirts off, I won't
yes.
take mine off. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
No, and it's not just them, it's the women screaming so loud, it's unequal. Men shouldn't be allowed to take their shirts off, and they're not. They're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I saw a post and this lady was going on and on and on about, that man, he mows his lawn without his shirt. I shouldn't have to be subjected to that. I'm like, "Are you
I
kidding me?"
agree. I'm sorry. I'm with the woman who doesn't want
Well,
to have to
don't
wear a
look.
shirt when she mows the lawn.
Don't. Oh,
As long as it's you. As long as it's you, baby.
whatever. Whatever. So it's so no, I don't think women should be allowed to walk around, except me and anybody that is like me,
Breastless, yes.
breastless and, well, nippleless.
Yeah. I mean,
Apparently
who's
that's
the
the
victim?
important part.
Yeah.
Apparently you got to be both in order for it to be okay if you're a woman. Now, if you're a man, okay, we're not going to go there. But no, women.
Oh, you're talking about men with boobs?
No, I was meaning it's okay for men to have nipples and flat chests. They
Right.
can take their shirt off.
But
That's
not
not.
women. I see.
But women can't have. So on social media, basically, if you are like me and you've had a mastectomy and you've stayed flat, you're allowed to go without a shirt because you don't have nipples.
But
But
if
if
you're a
you,
female and you have nipples, even though you're completely flat, you're not
yes,
allowed to show the. Oh, wow.
correct,
Yeah, we'll talk about a double standard. Okay, well,
right,
we should lobby Congress or whoever for that one. But
yeah, that
okay,
it's
so
stuff like that is
boobs.
dumb.
I agree with you. You know what? If women walked around without shirts, we would never get anything done. Right? It's pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
I mean, and the argument that men should be able to control themselves, they would, but for the most part, they would. Let's face it, for the most part, they would, but definitely things would not get done. There would be accidents.
Okay, I do want to say, and I'm not shitting on anybody's religion here, okay, but this is the same argument that certain religions make where women have to cover their hair and their
Yeah.
faces at all times because the argument is men can't get anything done because they're too sexually interested in women's beauty and hair and etc. So I'm just throwing that out there. It's the same kind of logic.
Well, and it's not just that either. The religion's also about that is your beauty and that is for your husband. And before you're married, you keep it covered because it's almost like your virginity. You don't share that with anybody when you're not
Great
married. And
point. Great point. I'm not sure that that's what their doctrine says, but great point. And if that is what it is, then that makes sense to me.
yeah, you'll have to look
The
it
other
up.
side of it doesn't. And I was friends with a guy from Morocco who explained that no, it's covered up because men shouldn't have to look at women, and their skin, etc. Like he's disgusted by American women because they walk around the way that they do, in his words, not mine.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too deep down that rabbit hole. The other thing I absolutely couldn't wait to talk about because you brought up this topic is prostitution. Okay. That is you can't get any more objectification than prostitution. You are literally using someone else for sex. What is your position on the legalization of prostitution?
I feel the same way about prostitution that I do about everything else when it comes to this topic. I think as if the woman is there willingly and wants to be there, I think it should be legalized. I think it'd be much, much better if it was legalized. It wouldn't be so easy to abuse women that are in that profession. I think that they could get taxes from it.
It's
there's
the
a
same
lot of
argument
reasons.
for the legalization of marijuana. I love it.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons, and safety and health, safety, and just physical location, type of safety is one of the is probably the biggest reason that I think it should be legalized. I think that it would also help if it was legalized to weed out. I don't think nothing happens quickly and nothing happens perfectly, but I think it would help to help with those people who traffic underage girls and women that don't want to be there. I think that if it became legal and they destigmatized it, then when you enter into a place and you see a woman who looks like she's been beaten or she's afraid to be there, or what, then you would feel much better about calling the police and saying, "Hey, we got something going on here." But see, a man won't do that now because it's illegal and it's wrong and it's stigmatized. So if he sees a woman that's being abused or he's afraid she's being abused, he's just going to quietly walk away most of the time because he doesn't want anybody to find out that he was there in the first place. Now you'll get the random guy who's just that morally, where he is, and he doesn't care if he ruins his life. He is going to get that lady out of there because she's in danger. But that's not your typical person that would react that way. So I think that there's a lot of reasons that it should be legalized.
Yeah, and it already is legal right in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's like that is the litmus test. It's like when the first state legalized marijuana. Let's see what the statistics are. Let's see how that worked in that state. And you'll notice that ever since that happened, more and more states are legalizing marijuana.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
it's been legal in Vegas for forever.
right. It's like, why doesn't the same thing work, when it comes to prostitution?
Because it's sex. Because it's sex.
And I would
Because
say
you have
it's
pointed out
because
many, many
we
times
still live in a country that has
Puritan,
a residual
Puritan,
morality based on
Puritan.
Puritan values from the
Yes.
1600s.
Yes. I wanted to say it before you did because I knew where you were going. You have pointed this out so many times
Again,
that
and
you,
we don't want
yeah,
to shit on anybody's religion. If you think it's
no,
morally wrong
yeah,
to sell your body for sex, even though it happens
yeah.
a lot in the Bible, that's your prerogative. Okay.
I get it. I get it. I'm taking a very practical um take on this. I look at it from the point of safety mostly. Um and
Well,
that's
we both agreed last week that it's morally wrong to cheat. Always, right? But should it be illegal? Should it be illegal to cheat?
no, I mean if it should be illegal, then they wouldn't have taken it out of most states. You can't, use that for divorce.
Right,
Um
infidelity laws, etc. And it
right.
still is in the military, but there's a reason for
Well,
that. I mean, you're
military is
supposed
a
to be
whole
brothers in arms, but
military is a whole nother
yeah.
animal. The military demands a certain way for their members to behave and to take care of their business. And if they can't take care of their business in that way, then they certainly can't be the type
Well,
of
and it only involves if it's other servicemen that you are, that the cheating happens with, right? I mean, it's not. Anyway, you're right. I mean, the military is kind of a red herring a little bit, but
and I don't know how they are today. This is how they were in the 70s and 80s. I know that. I don't know how they are now. They still have a lot of standards that, they will bust you down if you do. But that's why they have their own police. They take care of their own business because it is different than the way we do things as civilians. But no, cheating, I don't think as much as I think it's morally wrong. Um, I and it's not just morally wrong. It is such a betrayal on a human level um to your partner. It is such a betrayal. It is like, isn't it like the worst betrayal that you
oh,
can
for sure, yeah,
do?
and we covered all that last week.
Yeah.
To bring it back around to prostitution, I would see it as if your argument is that it's wrong, so it should be illegal. Then maybe you think that cheating should be illegal because it's wrong, or lying should be illegal because it's like where do
Well,
you draw the line if something is immoral, right?
see, I would have to argue that though. I would have to argue that they would say, no, no, I'm saying it's illegal because money is being exchanged for sex. Cheating, you're not exchanging money, you're betraying your spouse,
Aren't you
and it's
though?
bad.
Aren't you sometimes though? I mean, Think
No,
about it.
yeah, sometimes a man or a woman might drain their bank account and make their family suffer financially for their, whoever they're screwing around
Yeah,
with. That
we've
is
all seen
true.
those laundry lists of,
That
flowers,
that
lingerie,
is
jewelry.
true. That is a lot of the time the way the person
I
gets
ain't
caught,
saying she
right?
a gold digger, right?
But you're still not. It is transactional, and I understand, but it's still a technicality that falls on the side of they are not exchanging money, even though that's kind of what's happening in a lot of cases, especially if it's a 20-year-old with a 60-year-old, and a lot of money is happening.
I am so glad you just brought that up because the last point that I wanted to bring up with this topic that you wanted to explore
You don't have to
is
keep saying that.
I love it
I
because
I'm very
this is the
happy with the
edgiest
topic.
topic that you've wanted to do since we started this show. I love it. No, so mail order brides. So 50-year-old guy is emailing and texting an 18-year-old girl in the Philippines. Anything wrong with that to you?
Okay, here's the thing: as long as she's of legal age, and she's not being forced to do it. So it takes some due diligence on the man's part. Uh, do I think there's something wrong with it? I'm not going to judge him that he's, let's say, 30 or 40 years older than her. If she's not being forced to do it, and the payout for her, the upside for her is that she becomes an American citizen. She has a better life. She gets to have a family that has a better life than she would ever have, and he gets a spouse that is loyal and good to him. Everybody's happy. I am okay with that. I just am. I'm okay with
Okay.
it. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, me not so much. To me, maybe I lean a little more modern slash
I
liberal
I
with
think
this.
you're I think you're
What
biased.
what am I going to say? I'm going to say power dynamic.
That's
Okay.
and I get it, but that's why I said as long as everybody's happy. I have definitely seen those situations, those type of marriages where the man was not good to her. And thank goodness she had a support system, and she's, the ones that I've seen where they were able to stand up to the man and be like, you can either treat me right or goodbye. And and a lot of times the man doesn't. He's like, no, I will just go through the catalog and get me another woman who will put up with this. But then there are those times, like other marriages, where the same thing happens, and she gives him the ultimatum to treat her right or get lost, and he comes around and he works on it. Okay, either way it can happen. I think that happens regardless of age gaps. But you're right, it does happen. But I think you are biased. You have a familial history. You also have a history of talking to somebody that is in the same situation. And neither one of those two examples are good ones. So,
Well, so there's always the exceptions that prove the rule, right? I mean, there's going to be the gross, college professor who clearly is in another league from this poor woman who he started grooming at 17, married at 18 when he was 50, and is trying to say that it's perfectly fine. How could anybody have a problem with this? It was legal. I didn't do
is
anything
she
illegal. Well, we're
is
not
she
talking about
happy?
legality. We're talking about morality, right?
Right. Is
And
she
that is such a
happy?
gross power dynamic that this
I
basically
agree.
uneducated teenage girl in another country is groomed by this college professor who just, for all intents and purposes, wants somebody who's going to do whatever he says, whatever he wants, because that's, the culture,
And
and
I
have a
believe
hot piece of whatever. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
believe they have a happy marriage, and I believe they have a happy family, and I believe she has benefited from this relationship. Now, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I've gathered from what you have said, I'm gathering those things. Is that true?
so I guess by that logic, whoever
No,
gets
no, no. Is it true?
objectified, as long
No,
as
no,
they
no, no,
get
no, no,
something
no.
out of
No,
it,
no,
it
no.
makes the
I want you
objectification okay, right?
I want you to answer the question first, then we can talk about that.
The
Are
question
those things
being,
true?
are what things true that
Oh
that
goodness.
they're happy to this day?
That she's happy, that they're happy, that they have a happy family, and that she has benefited in some way from this relationship.
Yeah, I would say that would be his argument, right?
Oh, and I know you don't know, nobody knows because, who knows? But
Right.
we're just gonna go on what he says. That seems to be the case, and he would
But
not
I
be
would
alone in
say
that.
you have to be so careful with that line of reasoning because this is what slave owners would say about their slaves
I know. That's why
is
I
that they're
said
getting something out of it. We treat them so well, and
that's
this
why I
50-year-old
said
guy who groomed a 17-year-old, made her at 18, says the same thing. Oh, look at her life.
that's
I gave her
yes.
money and
That's why
trips
I
and all the
started by
things.
saying that the only way I think it's okay can turn out okay is if the man in this situation, assuming he is the one that's older and he's looking for a wife and he goes to a different country, and there's a lot of different reasons why men can do that. I'm just saying that there are men who do not do that for nefarious reasons or to control anyone. But I think it's really important for the men in that situation, if they're coming from a good and honest place, I think it's important for them to do their due diligence, to go and visit enough to know that that girl is not being coerced into doing this because she is her family's only hope to get them out of that country, that she's being forced to do things, because I have seen stories of girls who were their family's only hope in the Philippines, and they were forced to marry an older guy from
Yeah,
here who
which
was
is a
a
form
good
of
guy,
gross
who
exploitation,
who
right?
who was a good guy, yet she was in love with somebody in the Philippines who she was in love with. He was in love with her. They wanted to get married and have children. And in some cases they even had children, but they hadn't got married. And the parents wouldn't let her get married to the baby's father. And they wanted her to find one of these men from America to marry her and to take her. They trafficked their own child so that they and their kids could get to America and have a better life. And I think in those circumstances, if the man is coming from a good place, he needs to do his due diligence, period. And he needs to see, and I don't believe it could go over his head. He could ignore the red flags
You're
because
saying he needs to make sure it's not exploitative.
yes,
Okay. I'm
yes.
saying that a 50-year-old college educated man uh, marrying a 18-year-old girl from an underdeveloped country is already exploitative by nature because of the huge power dynamic gap. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is it illegal? No. Is it effed up? In my opinion, yes.
I'm saying that if you look at it through the very narrow lens that you're looking through it at it through, that there are actually women and men in this country, older, young women in those countries who really, really, really want this to happen, are ready to love someone. They know what they're getting involved in. They want it. They want it. And if your view was able to shape the way things move forward, and we just threw a blanket over it and said, nope, it's going to stop, period. This is never allowed again because of what you said, which I agree with you. If that is happening, that is horrible. But there are some people who truly want it. And it's not just a little bit of
Well, it
people.
reminds me a
There's a
little
lot of
bit
people.
of Pride and Prejudice, okay, where basically women wanted to marry the wealthiest, most well-to-do man, and that was what they
And
wanted.
they
Of course,
didn't
they
love
wanted,
them.
right? To say what?
And they didn't love them. They
Right.
just wanted to marry within their
But they
class.
got something out of it, so that made
Yeah.
it all okay. And
Yeah.
when you read the stories, yes, they romanticize it to hell. But
But
when you hear of the actual accounts of the things that women would tolerate over the centuries,
but I would
these
go
arranged
still
marriages.
I would go to the same place every time. Was the woman, because you're making it sound like all women that are in this position, even if they go into it willingly, are going to be ultimately unhappy and abused or objectified, sexualized, just mistreated, and there's going to be a power dynamic, and all the stuff is going to happen to them. And that's just not true. There are some women who go into it with open eyes and they want it, and they would not appreciate it if you were to sway the man that they were getting ready to marry into believing he was doing something wrong, they would probably drag your ass to any court that they could get you to,
Well, I
saying
mean,
that you
there's
took
an
away their
entire
life.
country of several billion people where arranged marriage is the norm. No, they would not appreciate my views on power dynamics, to be sure, right?
Okay,
I
but
mean,
but again, you're talking
Luther
about
Polly
something.
on Big Bang Theory, if he was trying to marry a girl 10 years younger than him, I'd have an issue with it. But that's just me because I'm a Westerner. I have certain preconceived notions about power dynamics and courtship.
And I don't disagree. I'm just very broad-minded, and I have looked at enough and talked to enough people that I understand that we can't blanket look at anything. And I know for a fact there are women and men out there who go into this willingly and wantingly and looking to love somebody just like an arranged marriage. Yes, they want to do it because of what they can get out of it, but they also want to do it because to them they believe that they can fall in love. They believe that they can have everything they want to have.
You know what?
And
I
they
love that you just framed everything exactly that way because you and I and your previous co-hosts and even before you had a co-host talked about checking boxes, right? And financial stability is often one of the higher boxes that people want to check. Is
yes.
this person that I want to be with, are they financially stable? And there's not a whole lot of difference between wanting that to be a higher up thing that has to be checked off than getting with somebody who's older than you and more grounded and more
You
secure,
know,
who may or
these
may not just basically see you as a trophy wife. You know what, though? It doesn't matter because my checkbox was financial stability and
right.
he checks off that box.
Right. But
Or she, right?
these men and women, gosh darn it, I was going to say something. I tried to
Oh,
say
oh,
it.
it must not have been that important.
It was, but as usual, you've just kept talking over me. I
It's
can't
perfect timing,
interrupt
is what it
you.
is. I have this way of weeding out the unimportant stuff. So
I can't interrupt you the way you can interrupt me, man. You just like threw right over me, and you get me to shut up,
one,
but I just can't do it to you. Uh, I was going to say something about the men and women who are doing this, and that they want to be doing it. It was a whole nother reason. I sound dumb. Look what you did to
well,
me.
we should bring it back around to general objectification, and the whole reason you started this, with the Britney Spears thing is that again, sometimes people want to be objectified. They're using what God gave them, right?
Yeah.
And who are we to shame them or blame them or say you can't do that? Again, it might feel yucky to me, that somebody quote unquote objectifies themselves in some way, but it's not my place to say you can't do that or you should not do that.
Right.
I may, if they ask me, and you said this earlier, if someone asks me, I can give my opinion, right? But if someone asks me, I may offer my personal opinion on whether I feel that would be healthy for them or healthy for society as a whole to do it, right? And we both agreed it wouldn't be healthy for society for women to go topless. But we also, and this is funny, and I wonder how the listeners feel. Tell us, do you think prostitution should be legalized? Because apparently Christine and I agree that it should. So talk
I mean,
about a
I
hot
laid out my
topic.
reasoning. I laid out my reasoning pretty good, I think.
You did, yeah, and I'm going to rewind it and watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I honestly, I strongly believe it in everything. This is why it's a good topic for me. In everything that we talked about, I have done podcast episodes on this topic. I have talked at length about all of these topics. Um, I have pretty strong opinions. It would be really, really hard for me to be swayed. And I think the reason why, of course, I'm very open to it, but the reason why I think it would be difficult is because I can see both sides. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that I said that I didn't say. It's not always that way.
No.
It's not always that
No, and
way.
I'm a diehard centrist, right? I like pissing people off on the left and the right because, again, I always say this: the truth, usually, in my experience, lies
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle. Do you see
Yeah.
Kristen's comment?
Yes. And Kristen,
Oh, we
yeah,
got you beat. We got you beat, Kristen.
yeah, I'm 13 years older than Mike. So he likes to act like it's so much. And I mean, truly, me getting cancer, and being 13 years older. I mean, I keep telling him, dude, I'm not going to outlive you. And he's like, yeah, you will. No, I'm probably not.
Yeah, I should start smoking again, just so we die around the same time.
Yeah, you're
Give me
right.
extra
Age,
mayonnaise on my Big Mac or whatever, or my
you
Whopper.
already do that. Who are you trying to fool? Kristen, you're right. Age is just a number. Age means nothing to me. The only context with which age matters to me is that you're legal. That you've hit your legal milestones. I don't want to drink with you if you're not 21. I don't want to be with you if you're not 18. Now, having said that, I'm not going to be with an 18-year-old. I'm just saying. I'm just
I
saying.
almost want to break up with you just to see if you would date an 18-year-old.
I would. If you
Oh
want to
my God.
fantasize about that, we can. But we can role play if you'd like.
Oh yeah, I fantasize about every age you've been legally.
Yeah, it's funny. Mike fantasizes, but I'm the person in his fantasy, so it's pretty cool.
No, it's all you, baby. It's all you. But yeah, in general, age ain't nothing but a number. However, and I did bring this up earlier, if there are other factors at play, such as your income level, your education level, your level of power, and you are leveraging those things over the other person who is way, way, way younger than you, and
it happens, it does. It happens. There are
that's
people out
what makes
there.
me raise an eyebrow. Again,
Yes,
if
and
it's
I would
legal,
too.
okay, do your thing. Just don't expect
Look,
people not to raise an eyebrow.
yeah,
Okay.
I would too. I would too. I mean, look, your person that you talk to on the boards that is a professor, and I hearing that story, I definitely do you like your men
Yeah.
young too? I would definitely question it when I first heard about it, but the proof is in the pudding for me. Now, I'm taking his word for things, but assuming that everything he says, their history is true,
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it. When it turns out the way that has, and I have
Yeah.
seen
We
it.
should talk at length about it on our next age gap episode that we do. But
Yeah,
as
I'm
far
sorry.
as
I'm
like,
sorry. I do not have a problem with age gap, and I don't care how much
yeah,
it is, unless there is a power dynamic. There's always going to be a power dynamic, but I mean, an abuse of the
yeah,
power, then I have a problem with it. If the girl, usually it's a girl, but it could be the guy, but whoever is young, if they are so young and immature, they don't even realize they are being abused, I would have a problem with it. And it goes the other way. If there's a young person that is obviously just taking the older person to the cleaners, now this has a caveat to it as well. If they're getting taken to the cleaners, but they are deliriously happy about it, it's fine.
some of them want to get used by you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't just apply to sex, right?
but when I do have a problem with it is when you see these people, man or woman, young, who are carelessly spending the money of their much older spouses, and they treat them like dirt when they're around them, and they cheat on them under their nose, and they just flaunt all the bad behavior and disrespect. That I have a problem with, just like it goes the other way. The older guy using it against the young girl.
Yeah, but that would apply to any age. I mean,
Yes,
if
that's what
you're
I'm saying.
treating your
And
other,
you see it where it happens that way. So yeah, nothing changes with my argument. I only have a problem with it when those things occur, and yes, they can occur, but no, they do not occur all the time. So I will not ever say it's wrong, period.
no, and I think it all, unfortunately, and I hate to admit this because, again, the word consent has been beaten over our heads so much that it's almost lost its meaning in some contexts. But in general, when it comes to objectification, consent is the key concept. If you consent to being objectified by others, that is your right as a human being if
Yeah,
you are of age and of sound mind to do so.
right. And
Bottom
I
line.
hate to say it. I hate to say it, but in communities, as Mr. Fixit brought up, in communities where they use consent to allow people to the freedom to choose how they want to be treated or how they want to treat others, It can get bad. It can get bad. And as a person who struggles to see the difference, it would be difficult to be around it and see a person being physically hurt and believing they want it, because in the moment they don't act like they want it. And that's part of
people will put up with a lot in order to get what they want.
That's part of the kink. That's the reason that safe words were invented. And I would say that, just don't put yourself in that situation. Like for me, I'm not going to lie. I have had, an interest in lots of different things, not of participating, but viewing voyeuristically. I would love to see things, but I would never.
Yeah, please do tell.
I would never put myself in a situation like if I wanted to go to a club or something where they are edgy. If I got a flyer that said tonight's BDSM night or tonight's sadistic masochistic night, I would steer clear. I would not be going there.
Hard pass. Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah,
because you can waive a consent form.
Well, you know what? That makes me sad because I was going to get you for your birthday in July some leather and some chains and some whips.
That's different.
But now that you mentioned that you don't like the BDSM thing, I'm having second thoughts.
I'll take the leather, heels, I don't really need chains, but for a photo op, maybe.
Oh, all right. Humma. All right.
Yeah, I would
I think we covered just about every type of objectification possible, even though we went through some rabbit holes. But
we didn't talk about strippers,
and we had a lot of engagement from our listeners and viewers. So, yay!
Yeah, it surprises me every time how many people we have lurking around watching that won't talk, and I always wonder. And with this topic, it makes me wonder a lot. With our other topics, they're really never that edgy.
Right?
So.
Should we start being a little edgier to kind of draw in more viewers and listeners?
Well, I don't think our viewers mind when we get edgy.
I don't think so either.
I think they like to have a platform.
Well, I think it's because you and I, we're not crass about it. We're not nasty. We don't,
Well, and I think
graphic,
they like.
Right?
I think they like having a platform where they can say, "No, I don't agree with that. I don't like that. That is wrong."
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think women should be allowed to walk around without shirts.
You would pick that one. Well, I don't.
Fair enough.
Except for me, I can.
You win.
And women who look like me.
You absolutely.
Do you know?
Win.
I saw a. I don't know. I saw videos. I saw a video somewhere. I know. I saw a video somewhere where a woman like me was on the beach without her top on, and the cops made her put her top back on.
I would totally sue that police department.
Yeah. They said it was distracting to people who saw her and didn't realize that she had had a mastectomy, so that they were getting the kids and the whole idea
touching their pearls and oh my god, hide their eyes.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, that's a whole nother episode, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't talk about strippers and the objectification of strip clubs. But we don't have time, so you'll just have to wonder what we would have said about that. If you have a strong opinion about strippers,
please send us an email. Comments.
Yeah, if you want to really talk about it, we can devote first 15 minutes to next week to it. But you got to let us know if you're interested. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Thank you for all the comments, guys, and for all of you who are out there watching. Thank you. Maybe we'll say hi sometime, right? Bye, guys. Thanks, Kristen, Mr. Fix-It.